Good evening. Tonight we're talking about stablecoins. And look, I know what you're thinking. Oh great, another crypto thing. Didn't my cousin lose his life savings on something called Dog-Elon Rocket Coin? And yes, he probably did. But stablecoins are different. They're the supposedly boring, responsible adults in the crypto frat house, promising a digital dollar that's always worth, well, a dollar. It's a simple, seductive idea, and it's catching on. In fact, a huge chunk of these digital dollars are already held outside the United States, from Argentina to Vietnam, by people looking for a safe haven from their own volatile currencies. And of course, where there's a massive, fast-growing pile of money, you will find US politicians scrambling to get involved. Enter the Genius Act. Yes, that's its actual name, and with an acronym that bold, it had better be truly, unequivocally genius, or it's just a legislative participation trophy. This bill, along with others, is trying to create a regulatory framework for these things, essentially deciding who gets to print these private dollars, and what rules they have to follow. It's a classic American story. A wild, unregulated frontier of finance is booming, and Washington is now riding in, sirens blaring, to tell everyone to please form an orderly queue after the gold rush has already started. The stakes here are surprisingly high. We're not just talking about some niche internet money anymore. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that's becoming deeply intertwined with the bedrock of our financial system, the US Treasury market. So, the question isn't just whether your cousin will get his money back, he won't, but whether a crisis in this new digital world could spill over and cause a full-blown meltdown in the real one. So tonight, let's take a look at stablecoins. The US's new financial frontier, or a risky gamble we're all being forced to take. So, let's start with the fundamental promise of a stablecoin, one coin, $1. Always. It sounds incredibly reassuring, doesn't it? Like a bank account, but on the internet. And that's exactly where the trouble begins. Because stablecoin issuers operate a lot like what the financial world calls shadow banks. Think of them as banks that get to skip all the boring, annoying parts, like federal deposit insurance and strict oversight. They take your real dollars, give you their digital tokens, and promise you can swap them back anytime. It's a business model built entirely on confidence. The financial equivalent of a trust fall, but with billions of dollars, and no one legally obligated to catch you. To keep their promise, issuers take your money and buy very safe, very liquid assets, mostly short-term government debt, or treasury bills. This is a classic financial maneuver called liquidity transformation. They are taking your cash, which you can demand back instantly, and tying it up in assets that, while safe, still need to be sold to someone else to get that cash back. This creates a glaring vulnerability, the same one that has plagued banking for centuries. The run. If people suddenly get spooked, maybe there's a rumor the issuer is insolvent, or maybe a celebrity just tweeted something stupid which, let's be honest, is a daily risk, and everyone rushes to redeem their stablecoins at once. It's a disaster. This isn't theoretical. We've seen it happen. For example, the US president recently announced 100% tariffs on China to be made effective on the 1st of November 2025, and let's just say the market did not take it well. When a major stablecoin wobbles, it triggers a digital bank run. Suddenly, the issuer has to sell off its assets, those massive holdings of T-bills, at lightning speed to meet redemptions. This is what's known as a fire sale. Imagine trying to sell your house in 5 minutes. You're not going to get a good price. Now imagine that. But instead of one house, it's tens of billions of dollars of US government debt being dumped onto the market all at once. The sheer volume could overwhelm the market, causing the price of these ultra-safe assets to plummet. This is the nightmare scenario that keeps regulators up at night. A fire sale of T-bills doesn't just hurt the stablecoin issuer, it sends shockwaves through the entire global financial system. Why? Because everyone, banks, pension funds, foreign governments, your grandmother's mutual fund, holds treasuries, because they're considered the safest asset on Earth. If their value suddenly becomes unstable because a crypto company had a bad day, then the very definition of safe is thrown into question. It destabilizes everything. It's like finding out the pilot of your plane he won his license in a poker game. The immediate problem is the wannabe pilot, but the bigger problem is that your entire concept of aviation safety is now shattered. And here's the kicker. Unlike your deposits at Bank of America, your stablecoins are generally not federally insured. The Genius Act and similar proposals try to address this by saying stablecoin holders should be first in line to get their money back if an issuer goes bankrupt. That's nice, I suppose. It's like being told you get the first lifeboat on the Titanic, but it doesn't prevent the ship from sinking. In a real crisis, the pressure on the government to step in and prevent a systemic collapse, to bail out the market, would be immense. And when that happens, the cost of this private sector gamble could very well be shifted onto the public, meaning you, the taxpayer, could end up footing the bill for a mess you had absolutely nothing to do with. Alright, so stablecoins are prone to runs, that's bad, but even if they work perfectly, they create a whole other set of problems for, the entire banking system. It's a classic case of the operation was a success, but the patient died. Here's how it works. When you decide to buy, say, $1,000 worth of a stablecoin, you send your $1,000 from your regular bank account to the stablecoin company. You get your digital tokens, and you feel very futuristic. But what happens to the bank you just pulled that money from? It just lost $1,000 of what it calls core deposits. Core deposits are the lifeblood of traditional banking. They are the cheap, sticky, and reliable funds that banks use to make loans for mortgages, small businesses, and car payments. When you and millions of others start pulling these deposits out to buy stablecoins, you are effectively draining the banking system of its cheapest source of funding. It's like if everyone in town suddenly decided to get their water from a trendy new artisanal water company, leaving the municipal reservoir to dry up. The town's water pressure would drop for everyone, and the fire department would be in a very awkward position. So what do banks do when their cheap pool of money shrinks? They have to find money elsewhere, and that money is always more expensive. They turn to things like wholesale funding, which is basically borrowing large sums from other financial institutions. This increases the bank's operating costs. And, like a cafe whose coffee bean prices just doubled, they pass that cost on to you. They can either start charging higher interest rates on loans, making it more expensive for you to buy a house or for a local business to expand, or they can simply decide to lend less money altogether. Either way, credit tightens, and the real economy slows down. The problem doesn't stop there. The money doesn't just vanish. The stablecoin issuer, now holding your cash, has to put it somewhere. Often, it ends up right back in the banking system, but in a much more dangerous form. Instead of being your small insured deposit, it becomes a massive, uninsured wholesale deposit from the stablecoin company. For a bank, a single billion-dollar deposit from a crypto firm is far more volatile and risky than a million different $1,000 deposits from regular customers. It's the difference between having a million loyal customers and one incredibly wealthy, flighty whale who could pull all their money at a moment's notice. This influx of large, uninsured, and jittery money weakens a bank's financial stability. Regulators look at metrics like the ratio of insured to uninsured deposits, and a flood of wholesale funding from the crypto world makes those metrics look terrible. It makes the bank itself more vulnerable to a run. So, to recap the beautiful irony here, money leaves the banking system in its safest form, small, insured deposits, only to re-enter it in its most dangerous form, large, uninsured, flighty deposits, all while making it harder for you to get a loan. It's a financial Rube Goldberg machine where the final step is a swift kick to the economy's groin. Alright folks, now let's dive into the US Treasury market. For most people, this is a topic so profoundly boring it could be used as a general anesthetic, but it is, and I cannot stress this enough, the single most important market in the world. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. And stablecoins are now a huge and somewhat clumsy new player in this delicate ecosystem. While the issuer's demand for T-bills might seem like a good thing, more buyers means it's cheaper for the government to borrow money. It's not that simple. It's like having a new, very large and very nervous elephant living in your apartment. Sure, he pays rent, but you're constantly worried he's going to get spooked and stampede through the ville. This new demand makes the short-term funding market more fragile. Studies have shown something quite worrying. While a surge of money into stablecoins only slightly lowers the yield on T-bills, making government borrowing a tiny bit cheaper, a surge of money out of stablecoins raises the yield by a much, much larger amount. In simple terms, the damage caused by an outflow is far greater than the benefit of an inflow. During a crisis, when people are cashing out of stablecoins, The resulting T-bill fire sale could cause borrowing costs to spike dramatically, right at the moment when the market needs stability the most. The elephant is now stampeding. This dynamic threatens to erode the very thing that makes T-bills so special, their status as a safe haven asset. In times of global panic, everyone rushes to buy US Treasuries because they are considered risk-free. But if the Treasury market itself becomes a source of volatility because of a run on some crypto dollar, where does the money go then? It's a deeply unsettling question. It's like finding out that in the event of a fire, the fire extinguishers are filled with gasoline. The one thing that's supposed to save you becomes the source of the explosion. And finally, there's the big existential risk for the Federal Reserve. The Fed's job is to manage the nation's economy by controlling the money supply and setting interest rates. It's a delicate, difficult job. Now imagine doing that job while a massive, privately run parallel currency system is operating outside of your direct control. That's what a mature stablecoin market represents. It shifts a significant degree of control over the creation and velocity of money from a public institution, the Fed, to a handful of private, for-profit companies. This isn't just a theoretical concern. The more people transact in private digital dollars, the less effective the Fed's traditional monetary policy tools become. It's like trying to steer a giant ship while someone else has built their own powerful engine on the side and is turning it on and off whenever they feel like it. The growth of stablecoins could, in the long run, fundamentally undermine the Fed's ability to steer the economy, fight inflation, or respond to a crisis. We'd be ceding a core sovereign function, the control of our money, to the same industry that gave us cartoon ape JPEGs worth more than a house. And that should worry you. It should worry you a lot. So, there you have it. Stablecoins. An invention designed to provide the stability of the dollar without the pesky inconvenience of banks, which has ended up creating a system that could destabilize banks, destabilize the treasury market, and potentially destabilize the entire economy. It's a solution that has become a bigger problem than the one it was trying to solve, like using a guillotine for a haircut. Yes, technically it works, but the side effects are, shall we say, significant. And now Washington is trying to bolt on a regulatory framework after the fact, with bills like the Genius Act. And look, regulation is necessary. You can't have a multi-billion-dollar private money system running on vibes and the promise that everything is backed by assets, which is financial jargon for trust me bro. But the current proposals feel less like a comprehensive plan and more like putting up a wet paint sign after everyone has already leaned against the wall. They try to ensure you get your money back after a collapse, but do precious little to prevent the systemic earthquake that a collapse would trigger. They focus on the lifeboat, not the iceberg. Ultimately, we are at a crossroads. We're letting a massive, volatile, and largely unregulated experiment graft itself onto the core of our financial plumbing. And while proponents will tell you it's the future of finance, it looks an awful lot like the riskiest parts of our financial past, just with a new user interface and more emojis. And if we get this wrong, the bailout won't be for a few over-leveraged crypto bros. It will be for the entire system they've been allowed to endanger. And that, I think we can all agree, is anything but stable. But stablecoins are not all bad. In the next video we will talk about the benefits of stablecoins being added to our economy as a digital representation of currency.